So how are people able to afford living in New York City? Because I love New York. I
Yeah.
go there as often as I
They
can.
can't.
Well, but they're living there.
They are
They're
living
not
there.
just sitting vacant. You have plenty of people. You walk around Manhattan, you see plenty of people walking in, going to their apartment complex.
A lot of it's sacrifice. I don't know what the debt to income ratio is in, let's say, like greater Las Vegas, but most people live paycheck to paycheck in New York City, even at the luxury level. Like they save very, very little because the quality of living is so high, and the cost of living is so high.
At the luxury level, why would they not just go down a notch to be at like the sub-luxury level to be able to save a little bit of money?
Like,
or is this just like a character?
Are we
Because
talking
life
like
is short.
We're talking like $3-4 million condos.
Yeah, people will live, like we have clients who, when they have a budget, right? So they have $700,000 that they've saved already for renting that they want to put down on a down payment. And then we have to sit there and talk to them and like, okay, so after the 700 goes into the down payment, because you're going to put 25% down, let's say, what do you have left? Because we have to have reserves to get your loan. You're going to have your monthly payment over and over. What if something happens, anything? And they're like, oh, well, it's fine. I'll just make more money. Like there's this idea that it's fine, I'll make more money. Or you can have alternative streams of income that I think is new, right? That's that's a new feeling that people have, not just at the $500,000 to $800,000 level, but at, like you said, the $3, $4, and $5 million level. It's okay. I'll figure it out. I can always just make more money. And people don't want to live below their means. No, not everybody's this guy, right? Like people.
I imagine you live below your means.
I don't know if I live. I mean, I could definitely spend a lot more, but I spend a lot of money to survive and to live in New York City.
On your wrist.
I've had this for a long time. But I don't look at this as an expense. I look at this as an investment. Every watch I've ever bought, which is not that many, is worth way more now than what I paid for it, right? So I do look at certain things like as investments that way. But I'm not insane with expenses. I grew up in the Great Recession of 08 and 09. Like I know what it was like back then to not have money and to watch people be totally hurt, and I will never go back to that.
Yeah, I listened to your podcast that you did a while ago with Erica Kohlberg.
Okay.
Back then, you said that you stretched yourself to buy a $3.5 million condo when you really couldn't afford it.
Correct.
That your budget was like 1.5.
Yes.
And you saw this, and it pushed you to work harder and make even more money.
Yes.
You still follow that trajectory?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have a problem.
But it's working.
So how are you applying that today?
I started my own company 5 years ago. Like I try not to. I don't push myself into situations where I could file for bankruptcy tomorrow. But I think you have to push yourself into situations where you put your back up against the wall a little bit, that if you're in a career where you could be incentivized to make more money, and I don't give this advice to like my little brother. My little brother has a W-2 job. He works 9 to 5. I guess he could do some nighttime investing. He could do what some of my other friends do. He could be crypto trading. Like he could have a weekend job, sure, to always make more money, but then his quality of life and his focus would be incredibly fractionalized, both from like a mental health point of view and actually like a physical labor standpoint. So I don't do that. I think when you're in sales, your fate is what you make of it, right? You just have to make 10 extra phone calls. You can make 10 extra appointments. I could work 7 days a week. And so I pushed myself to buy that apartment. It was 3.7. And then a year later, it was like, I could have gone bigger because I just made more. Then I bought my first, big house, and that was 7.6. And that was terrifying. And then I gut renovated it. And then when I was done, I was like, maybe could have gone bigger. And then started my own company in 2020, just completely bootstrapped for the first 4 years, and then raised money for the first time in December to have strategic partnerships. I wasn't doing this 100% by myself. And I look at like what our expenses are now, and it's just mind-boggling to where I was stressed about just a couple years ago. But we just keep pushing the envelope and keep pushing ourselves to the point where we look back a year before and we say, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. And it's worked so well for me anyway.
So how has the market changed for you since 2020?
There's a far bigger, I'd say, emphasis on thinking globally than thinking hyper locally. Like pre-2020, when I was just in New York, like I would have no need to sell anywhere else. Right? Like you have billions of dollars of real estate to trade in a 3-block radius. Like you don't have to go anywhere else. You never have to get in a car. You never have to travel. But since 2020, the market has become globally influenced. And if you match that with hyper local excellence, you can actually do so much more in so many places. Like I'm in Vegas today because we're opening our first Vegas location, like literally today. It's my 14th state. In 2020, if you had told me one day you'd be coming to Vegas, not just to do your awesome podcast, but to open a market, I would have said, really? Like, what does that even mean? Why would we do that? And so that's one way the market has changed. And then also, what is money anymore? Like the amount of trades we've done now on the residential side for over $100 million is crazy town. Like the amount of people now that are buying at the $75, $80, $95 million mark for a secondary home, it's hard to fathom. The amount of wealth creation that's happened over the past 5 years since 2020 is completely insane, and people put a lot of it back into real estate. So life has also changed that way.
A lot of people speculate that the cost of housing is going up in places like New York City because foreign buyers are buying up like luxury condos or even buildings and just letting them sit vacant in New York. A lot of people think that. Would you say that is fact, or that's just like a made-up story?
Categorically false.
So that is not true.
During the Obama years, completely true.
Like why was that happening then and not now?
A much cheaper dollar, for sure, right? So you had a much cheaper dollar. So it made a lot of sense for Canadians, French, Japanese, the Chinese, South Africans, South Americans to come into the United States and buy cheap real estate. For a lot of reasons, okay? And so once Obama left office, the dollar started getting stronger. And so if you follow currency exchange, it stopped making as much sense. So then you had a lot of foreigners who bought during the Obama administration, right, for 8 years, who then started to sell because then they were making, even if they were selling at, let's say, a break even in the United States, depending on the currency, you were making anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40, 50%, depending on how you play the tax game here. Foreigners in New York City, for example, New York City residential real estate is about 70% of the asset class. The majority of New York City is rent. Most of those buildings you see are rental buildings owned by major landlords, okay? 30% of that is then for sale. So people can, buy, sell condos, co-ops, and townhouses. Most of that is all primary residence for New Yorkers. Most of New York City is bought and sold by people who actually live there. A lot of the big trades that we've done recently, like on the second season of Owning Manhattan, which comes out December 5th, are all just wealthy New Yorkers. Their kids go to school there and they want to have a great home. There's very little foreign investment. Even though there's a lot of it, it just gets talked about a lot. And then it's the domestic U.S. purchasers and the New Yorkers who also just have other homes who leave them vacant or who keep the lights off at night. But there was a period of time where there was a lot of foreign investment. Like I remember a 30 Rock episode back with Tina Fey back in the day, in like 2006 or something, where like one of the cold opens is her and I don't even know, her boyfriend on the show or something looking at an apartment. And they're like, yeah, we're thinking, I don't know. And then like a Saudi guy walks in and he's like, I would also take this for my motorcycles, and slams the door. And like, damn it, we lost another one. Those days are long gone.
So then what would you say are the top like 2 or 3 things causing the rents to be so expensive?
Inventory, lack of inventory, and the lack of incentive to build. So you talk about New York City today and what happened yesterday with the election, right? It is very, very easy to make promises on the ideology of taking, right? Like you're hurting, I'm going to take from him, I'm going to give to you. Versus you're hurting, I'm going to incentivize him to make more and create more for you. That just doesn't sound as great because when you're angry, you want people to be punished. It's so much easier to talk about punishing success than it is to incentivize it. And that's one of the biggest problems you have in predominantly blue states, which is why you've seen so much movement to Nevada and Florida, Arizona, where we opened a couple months ago. And so, you just need people to be incentivized to create. It is so burdensome to build new homes, even if they're affordable in most markets now, that people just don't do it. Like there's other places to make money. You don't need to do it. So there is a real lack of inventory. And then rates are high. Rates are high. So the cost of ownership is incredibly expensive. So what does it do to available inventory? It makes it more expensive.
Real quick, how many times have you actually panicked because you could not find your wallet? I'm talking full stop, heart drop, where it's complete panic because I have way too many times, and now there's a wallet that just shows up in your Find My app. Me telling you that it's been a game changer is a complete understatement because I cannot tell you how many times I've lost my wallet. But with MagBack, I just open Apple's Find My app to play a sound if it's nearby or just see it on a map.
That's why we're so excited to partner with MagBack. Honestly, we've been waiting to talk about this because they make a smart wallet, and it's one of those products where once you see how it works, you'll just immediately want it.
It carries up to 9 cards while still looking sleek, plus they're made of genuine top-grain leather that gets softer and develops more character the more you carry it.
It also doubles as a phone stand, and it's compatible with QI wireless chargers, so you don't sacrifice your MagSafe capabilities.
In addition to wallets, MagBack offers minimalistic phone cases, multi-chargers, wireless chargers, Tesla chargers, and rim cases and key tags. Funny enough, one of my favorite products is the Tesla-compatible charger. I have it in my Tesla. I absolutely love it. If you have a Tesla, I highly recommend it.
And you can get 15% off of any of these products using the code iced15 when you go to creators.magback.com/theicedcoffeehour. The link is also down below in the description.
Once again, that is code iced15 for 15% off at creators.magback.com/icedcoffeehour. Link down below in the description.